Alrighty, what's up everybody? Peter Gilmore here on this Friday evening. Back to you again with another video right here on the Peter Gilmore YouTube wrestling channel. YouTube.com/Peter Gilmore. Thank you all for watching this video. Make sure you like this video and hit that subscribe button down below. Alright, first video on this channel of 2020. Everybody had a good new year, like I mentioned in my SmackDown review, which I did about a day or so ago. So check that out on the Killer Demon 669 channel and subscribe to that channel and this channel and all my other channels as well. Alright, so we're gearing up for the first SmackDown of 2020. Coming up in a little bit. Watch it later. My DVR. I'm not gonna watch it live because I got other things to do. So got pretty decent SmackDown coming in from Memphis, Tennessee. So it's Jerry Lawler country. So I don't know if Jerry's gonna be on the show. I'd be mentioned, but we'll see. We got Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan teaming up against King Corbin and Dolph Ziggler. See what happens with that. We got a three-way women's tag team match. We got Bayley and Sasha Banks, the Boss, taking on Lacey Evans and Dana Brooke, taking on Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. So see what happens with that. You know, a lot of people hate Bayley and Sasha. They want to beat the crap out of them. We had that. And we'll see what else happens on SmackDown as we get closer and closer to the Royal Rumble at the end of this month. So we'll see what happens with that. We got Wrestle Kingdom happening tonight. A couple hours. So fucking excited for this weekend with Wrestle Kingdom Night 1 and 2. And then New Year's Dash the day after that. Lots of wrestling to watch. And then next week, you got TNA Hard to Kill. And then a couple weeks after, well, a week or so after that, you got NWA Hard Times. Their first pay-per-view of the year. And then you got the Royal Rumble. And you got NXT. You got Worlds Collide, NXT UK versus NXT on the day before the Royal Rumble. So that should be exciting. Then you got the Royal Rumble, of course, which is, you know, equally exciting, you know, because we don't know who's going to win this year. Actually, we know who might win the women's Royal Rumble, but the men we're not sure of right now. Could go to a lot of people, but I'll talk about that probably a week or so before Royal Rumble happens. I'll give you my Royal Rumble preview, if you will, and I'll talk about that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on this Friday evening, January the 3rd, 2020, already 3 days into the new year, and we're already talking about World War III. Yeah. Oh boy. We killed the Iranian terrorist, one of the big guys in Iran. And now Iran wants to kick our ass. So like New York City's on heightened alert. Ugh. That should be fun going over the bridge and all the shit going over the next few days. With heightened security at the Port Authority and all that other crap. But they're here to protect and serve. So we got that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting next few days of 2020. What's going to happen? Hopefully nothing big happens. But we'll see. We're looking like we're going to World War III with Iran. You know, Iraq's got our back, supposedly. So Iran got the nukes so they can fuck with us. So, we're in deep shit. Thanks, Trump. Thanks. Even though I'm gonna vote for you this coming year. But, I mean, thanks. Thanks for killing a bunch more troops that should be home with their family. Good job. It is what it is. That's all I gotta say for that. Alright, on this Friday evening, it is time for your late and out-of-date AEW Dynamite review for January the 1st, 2020, the first edition of AEW Dynamite on TNT and in the year 2020. And it was a very good show. And the ratings, wow, the ratings for this show were astronomical for AEW. They got 976,000 views, almost 1 million views. I know a lot of people say, oh, NXT was taped. They did their NXT year-end awards. It doesn't really count. But still, NXT got, what, like 500,000, almost 600,000 views, somewhere around there? Not bad. Cheap show. I mean, they got like 800,000 for the Christmas episode. But a lot of people wanted to watch AEW. And we'll see what next week holds, because both shows are new. So, AEW next week is from somewhere in Mississippi, I think. And it's supposedly Memphis Legends Night. And Jerry Lawler's not going to be there. Or, you know, other people that have fought in Memphis. I heard something like Jeff Jarrett or Jerry Jarrett might be there. I don't know what's going to happen next week with that, but let's see what happens. So we got that. And then NXT's coming up with their first episode of 2020. So we'll see what happens with that as they lead into Worlds Collide, and then after that, take over Portland in February, right, on Valentine's Day weekend. Pretty nice. And speaking of Valentine's, I guess you can give a to Nikki Bella getting engaged to that Artem guy, the Dancing with the Stars guy. Let's see how that long lasts. You know, Andrade got engaged to Charlotte, so Nikki Bella, the slut that she is, has to outdo everybody. Oh, Charlotte got engaged. I better get engaged too. Watch that blow up in her face. Watch. It is what it is, and I could care 10 rats' asses about Nikki Bella. I don't give two shits. And that's all I gotta say about that. So let's get to AEW. Let's not waste any more of your precious time that I already wasted. But I could care less of what you think. And that's it. So, start off for AEW from Jacksonville, Florida, their homecoming episode. So they're at the same venue they had, I believe it was Fyter Fest, or Fight for the Fallen of Fyter Fest. I think it was Fyter Fest. At a little dinky arena, outside arena, a weird looking stage. So they came from there. Like I said, it was a great show. We had Taz on commentary with JR and Excalibur, so that was nice. No Tony Schiavone, Tony Baloney, whatever you want to call him. So that's it. And then we started with a Cody versus Darby Allin video package, mainly highlighting their match at Fyter Fest earlier last summer, which was awesome. Went to a time limit draw, so we're gonna get the second match that was advertised. Darby getting the win on the December 18th edition of AEW to get the match with Cody. So this was going to be the match with Cody. So Cody comes out with his new manager, Arn Anderson, Double A, Arn Anderson, which is I guess they're trying to combat Shawn Spears, and with him having Tully Blanchard as his manager. All we need now is Ric Flair in AEW, and you can put anybody in that fourth spot. Barry Windham, Sting, anybody. Mondo McMichael. I can't get Chris Benoit because he's dead. Brian Pillman. Yeah, Brian Pillman was in the Horsemen if you think about it. For like a brief, maybe a second. But it is what it is, and yeah. So maybe the Four Horsemen will reunite in AEW sometime. I don't know. Probably when all half dead. It is what it is. So let's get to Darby Allin, Cody Rhodes 2. And this was another phenomenal match. Another great match. Cody was taking Darby to school. Darby was doing everything in his power to, using his speed and quickness to stop, to, really give Cody fits like he did in their first encounter. And, they went at it like two bulls, and it's just great. So it starts off with Darby getting some shoulder tackles and a lockup, and Allin was working some counters, and he cradles Cody for a 1 count. Goes for more covers. Trade near falls back to back to back. Then Cody goes over to Arn, and Arn talks to him a little bit. And then Cody looks for Crossroads that gets counted, and Cody follows with some strikes, dumps Allin to the outside. But Allin trips Cody up on the apron, follows with a suicide dive, attacking the shoulder of Cody. And he sends Cody into the ring post, and they go back in. Cody counters a wrecking ball dropkick, and then Darby attacks the shoulder, slams Cody to the turnbuckles, and gets a 2 count out of that. Cody cuts him off, knocks on a figure 4. He cranks back on it. Darby fights and fights and fights, and he finally rolls to the ropes to release the hold. Cody rolls it back, and then Allin makes the ropes again. And then Allin comes back, still going at the shoulder of Cody, slamming it into the turnbuckles a bunch of times, covering for a near fall. Then he traps both arms, and Cody makes the ropes. And really, Darby was controlling the match with the arm work and the shoulder work, really kind of shutting down Cody's, physical momentum, his physical power, his power game, basically. But Cody comes back with a snap slam, and Cody fires up with some kicks and some mounted strikes. Hits the Cody cutter, and he's like, yeah! Then he stomps at the knee of Darby, in the hands, and takes him up top. And follows him up, and a reverse suplex hits for a near fall. Cody locks in the figure 4 again, but Darby fights and makes the ropes. They go to the ramp. Cody follows with a slam. Then they go back in. Cody takes Allin up top. Allin fights back and hits an avalanche code red. Ow. And then they trade some strikes. Darby hits a stunner as he heads up top, but Cody rolls to the apron. Allin then hits the Crawford drop anyway. On the apron, like he did last year, but he failed last year on doing that. And that's how Cody won. Cody got the time limit draw, even though Cody looked like he was about to win. So he hits the Crawford drop on the apron. They both spill to the floor. Eventually get back in. Cody cuts him off, and Allin counters the Cody cutter, but Cody counters the stunner into the Crossroads. He gets 2.999999999. And Cody's a little pissed off. He's looking at Arn Anderson and doesn't know what to do. And we see that one of the turnbuckles was exposed. Cody goes to charge, and he hits the exposed turnbuckle and knocks him down. Darby Allin goes up top, looks for the coffin drop, but Cody got his knees up, and then he cradles Allin with a stacked package pin. And he gets the win. A great match. I gave 4 out of 5 stars. This was amazing. 4 out of 5 stars. This was better than their match at Fyter Fest. And I think this was Cody's best match on AEW TV. Even better than his match with Sammy Guevara, I believe, on the first night. The October 2nd show. Better than that match. This is great. He's got a lot of stuff on his plate, with MJF, with the night with the Butcher and the Bunny, mainly MJF, which I'll get to later. At MJF on the show with Wardlow. But Cody gets a big win, gains some momentum into his eventual match with MJF at Revolution, which I'll talk about in a minute. So, like I said, 4 out of 5 stars for that match. Amazing match. And we'll see what happens with Cody and Arn Anderson as the weeks go on, and we'll see what happens with that. All right, then we get a promo from SCU, Daniels, Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky. They talk about the Dark Order coming for them. They call them a bunch of spooky perverts. Yeah, and they get that. They said they'll take everyone out, and then Sammy Guevara arrives, Spanish god. No, he's not a Spanish god, Spanish idiot. But he arrives, makes fun of Daniels for being old and losing all the time. So Daniels is pissed, and he challenges him for a match next week. So we'll see Daniels and Sammy Guevara going at it. I think Sammy Guevara will win that, cause I just think they're gonna put Sammy Guevara and push Sammy to the moon. He's gonna be like, oh, I beat this guy, I beat this guy, I beat a bunch of old farts, yeah, I'm great. No, not even close. Not that great. And that's all I gotta say about that. And we move on. So I gave that 2.25 out of 5 stars. Alright, then we get to our second match. Fatal 4-Way for the women's title. We had little young Rio. Cute little Rio. Taking on the native beast, Nyla Rose. Taking on Britt Baker and taking on Hikaru Shida. This was a good match. A very good Fatal 4-Way match. I was hoping to be Rio and Chris Statlander, but Chris Statlander had her prior commitments. And she's actually getting the match next week with the winner of this match. So we'll see who wins this match. And like I said, it was great. Very good match between all 4 ladies. Starts off with Nyla attacking Rio and Britt Baker with some belt shots. Not the women's title belt, her belt. Hikaru Shida cuts her off with a candlestick shot. Hits a running knee strike for a 2. Rio battles back, but Shida runs her into Baker, and Nyla drags her to the floor. And she pulls out a table, sets it up, and that'll be used later. Hikaru Shida attacks, but Rio flies to the floor with a high cross body on Hikaru Shida. Nyla cuts her off, and they all brawl on the floor. And then Britt Baker and Nyla Rose roll back in, and Nyla hits a spine buster. And works her over in the corner. She beats down Rio, hits a Samoan drop on Britt Baker. She was basically beating up everybody in this match. Powerbombs Rio onto Baker, and then Shida had to bring up the pin. Then Shida counters a powerbomb, follows with some strikes, and Nyla drapes over the ropes. Heads up top, hits the flying knee strike. Get that. They go to the floor, Nyla lays Hikaru Shida on the table, heads to the apron, and then hits a senton bomb through the table. So, Fatal 4-Ways, there is no disqualification. So, Nyla Rose could have brought out some barbed wire and killed everybody, but it is what it is. So she puts Hikaru Shida through the table. Then Rio hits an apron double stomp on Nyla, and then Baker covers for a near fall. He goes for the lockjaw. Nyla fights out of it, powers up, powerbombs her, and covers for a near fall as Rio made the save. And then Rio hits a double stomp, goes up top. The double stomp falls, but a super kick on the Rio falls with a neck breaker for a near fall. And then Britt Baker heads up top. Hikaru Shida cuts her off. She hits a superplex. Then she suplexes Rio onto Nyla Rose, and then a backbreaker gets a near fall. As Nyla Rose hits a German suplex. Pick it up. She stacks up Hikaru Shida and Rio. Shuts up top, misses the big senton splash. Shida misses a knee strike. Rio hits some double knees. Hikaru Shida breaks it up and picks up a very near fall on Rio. And Britt Baker comes back with a super kick. She goes right into lockjaw on Hikaru Shida. Looked like she was about to win the belt, but Rio comes in, cradles Britt Baker to retain the title. And this was going to happen. I knew Rio was not going to win the title just yet. I mean, she hasn't defended it since, God knows when, October, late October, or early November. So she hasn't been around for 2 months. And I don't know if they're gonna do a story with what happened in those 2 months. Like Rio went to Japan and fought in those promotions in Japan, Rise or whatever. I don't know if they're gonna do that, but she comes back. She gets beat up, and then she comes back and somehow wins the match and retains the belt. This is the story with Rio, and that's what they're doing with Rio. They're not using her correctly, but I like to see more of Rio. I know she has the commitments in Japan, because she's trained by Kenny Omega. That is, she has her other stuff. But I'd like to see more Rio. You had this thing with Brandy and the Nightmare Collective. Brandy wants to go after Rio. So why don't you start this thing with Brandy and Rio? After this Chris Statlander thing. Which, Chris Statlander is going to get revenge on Brandy Rhodes and Awesome Kong and Melissa Cruz. Probably next week, but we'll see what happens with that. And that's it. So this match was very good. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Everybody had a good point in the match. And this was, I think, one of the better women's matches of since basically the October the women's title match in late October. And they had the women's title match between Nyla Rose and Rio. Won the belt. That was a great match, and you've seen other matches with like Britt Baker and Emi Sakura. We had Big Swole in action. We had Chris Statlander versus Britt Baker, which was decent. Other people like that are on the roster. I can't name them off the top of my head, but we had Allie in a match on Dark. Allie's doing her thing with the Butcher and the Bunny, the Butcher and the Blade, I should say. It is what it is. So that's all I gotta say about that. So Rio wins, she celebrates, but afterwards she gets attacked by Nyla Rose. Nyla puts Rio on the table in the ring. Then she goes up top, hits a splash off the top rope, putting her through it. And the announcer was saying that, what is she doing? Does she want to get suspended again? And they're thinking of suspending Nyla through the rest of this year. I don't think that's gonna happen, because I think Nyla will eventually get the belt. I don't know off who, but it might be Rio at this point. But like I said, Rio's got Chris Statlander to worry about, the number 1 contender. She is the number 1 ranked person, even though they reset it everything. But I still think she's number 1. She's number 1 contender. But so we'll see what happens with Rio next week, and with her and Chris Statlander for I think it's for the belt, sure, but we haven't announced it. I'll have to see what happens with that. So get that. Alright, after that, we get a interview with Joey Janela, the bad boy, Joey Janela. And he's on the ramp talking to Chris Van... I don't know if it was Chris Van Vliet or the other lady. I forgot her name. Jenna Marquez, I think is her name. Jenna, I think his name is Jenna, something like that. Anyway, he's interviewed. And he's talking about Shawn Spears, and he's talking about Kip Sabian. And then speaking of Kip Sabian, Penelope Ford, his former girlfriend, or his current girlfriend, I don't know if it's real life girlfriend or whatever it is, but his former girlfriend in CCW, she comes out and hits a low blow into the nuts, lays him out, and she leaves with her new man, Kip Sabian. I guess we're gonna see a Kip Sabian Joey Janela feud. See what happens with that. And that's it. So I gave that 2.25 out of 5 stars. And that was pretty much it for that. Alright, then we get a Dark Order video package. Basically showing the Dark Order and their new members, John Silver and I forgot his name. Anthony Green, I think it is. The Beaver Boys, just put it that way. I think you know what I'm talking about. If you know who the Beaver Boys are, you know what I'm talking about. Basically, they're telling the Exalted One, that the Elite has fallen, and soon we will see the true reach of the Dark Order. Now, a lot of people are saying, who is this Exalted One? I can tell you firsthand, it is probably Marty Scurll. Of course, they've been talking about Marty, and rumors. Marty's fighting. He's doing a Ring of Honor show next weekend in Atlanta. He's going to be teaming up with Villain Enterprises in a 6-man tag team championship match where they're going to lose the belts. So that's really Marty's last Ring of Honor show. Then he's got the NWA pay-per-view where he's taking on Nick Aldis for the world title. And then he's doing that one-off show. And then he's probably going to be at AEW Revolution, where I think they'll announce him maybe as the Exalted One. Because I can't really think of anybody else who could possibly be the Exalted One. I really can't think of anybody else besides Marty. But then again, Marty could come in and be friends with the Elite. You know, he's friends with Cody and the company. You know, he's on Being the Elite. And again, you know, he could turn on the Elite and side with the Dark Order. Be the Exalted One. Or then again, it could be Vince McMahon. Remember when Vince was the higher power back in the Ministry of Darkness days, which later became the Corporate Ministry? It was me, Austin! It was me all along! You know, that could happen, but maybe it's Cody Rhodes. Nah, it won't be Cody. I'm just joking around. But that would be hilarious if it was Cody Rhodes being the Exalted One. But I don't think it's not gonna be Cody. I really think it's gonna be Marty Scurll. Oh, I don't know. I really don't know who else it could be. And not gonna be Jericho. Jericho's got his own thing with the Inner Circle. Let's put it that way. I don't know. It's gonna be somebody big. It's gonna be somebody big, and it's gonna shock us. I'm leaning towards Marty, but we'll see what happens with the Dark Order as we move on with the rest of 2020. You know, going into Revolution and all that good stuff. All right, enough about that talk. All right, third match, we had Jon Moxley get on Trent of the Best Friends. Give me a hug. And we had that. We had Chucky T and Orange Cassidy at ringside. This was a pretty good match. Two hard-hitting guys. You know, they just beat the living bejesus out of each other. And, you know, really showed Trent's power. Like, I mean, Trent has gotten a little bit of a push lately. You know, he beat Rey Fenix. He beat Pentagon Jr., the guy with Zero. Beat them back-to-back weeks. He was getting a little bit of momentum going for himself. And now he's fighting the big dog, Jon Moxley. No pun intended with the big dog. Not go to Roman Reigns territory, but it is what it is. So, I mean, these guys beat the crap out of each other. And, great 11-minute match. They lock up to start. Some mat work. And Trent fights to his feet, takes Moxley down. They trade some shoulder tackles. And Trent slaps the taste out of Moxley's mouth. Moxley got pissed and lights him up with some chops. And then they go back and forth. Trent hits a running Meteora. Starts to work on Moxley. Moxley fires back with some elbow strikes. Then he dumps him to the floor. He dumps him onto the ropes, and heads back in the ring. Falls up with a sliding clothesline for a near fall. And a half crab. Trent escapes that. And they go up top. Moxley hits a superplex for a near fall. Then he grounds and pounds something. Pounds him a little bit. Locks in the STF. As we go to break, we come back. Moxley's working over Trent on the floor. Trent hits a desperation spear. The T's getting counted out. They go back in. Trent follows with chops, a half and half suplex. As Moxley goes to the floor, Trent follows with a tope con hilo. And they go back in. Trent hits a tornado DDT for a near fall. Moxley comes back with with a knee strike and another move for a near fall. And they go back and forth trading near falls until Moxley hits a clothesline. Trent comes back with a lariat of his own. It gets a near fall. Then Orange Cassidy gets in the ring, puts his hands in his pants, and everybody's like, "Oh shit!" And then Moxley's like, "What the fuck is this guy?" He's like, "Oh!" He thrusts. He gives like. He puts his hand in his pants, thrusts, is like, "Motherfucker, shut the fuck up! Come on!" I thought they were gonna go at it, and that would have been awesome. No, they're really pushing Orange Cassidy to the moon, and to think he was Fire Ant in Chikara. Huh. Go figure. So they were about to go at it, and then Trent hits a knee strike, and then a pound driver for near fall. Moxley goes to the ramp. Trent heads up top, flies off, and eats the Death Rider. Or dirty deeds done too cheap on the ramp. That had to hurt. They go back in. Moxley hits it again for the win. Moxley picks up a win. Continues his momentum. As he starts 2020 on a good note. I'm going to have problems saying 2020. But he gets the win. Picks and gains some momentum. Match I gave 3.5 out of 5 stars. Trent put in a great showing. Can't say anything bad about Trent and his work ethic and what he's done so far in AEW. But Moxley was the better man, pulled out the victory, and that's what I gotta say about that. And we're gonna move on from there. So, like I said, 3.5 out of 5 stars for the match. And then after that, Sammy Guevara comes out, stealing drinks and food from the fans like an idiot. And he says he has a surprise for Jon Moxley. So on the AEW Tron is Chris Jericho, I guess outside the building or at a hotel. I don't know where he was at. Probably maybe in Tokyo because he has that match with Tanahashi tonight. Basically he wants him in the inner circle and he's offering him more than anyone else. Jericho wants him to co-lead the inner circle, and is giving him 49% of it, and a brand new car, millions of dollars, the Ford GT. I don't know how much that thing costs. I think it's like $200,000, something like that. Like the most expensive car in all the world, even more money than a Lamborghini and a Ferrari. That car is more than my fucking car. My car's a piece of shit. It is a piece of shit. I need a new car. It is what it is. I still got my license plates on it and all that good stuff. They said they could take over AEW, and they could ruin the Bucks, Cody, Kenny Omega, and Jungle Boy. Claims he beat. I don't know how Jungle Boy gets involved in this, but okay. He says, just say yes, and they'll be waiting. And then he leaves in Mox's new car, with Mox on the license plate. So they go back to the arena. Moxley gets on the mic, and basically praises Jericho, saying he's been a friend and a mentor, and he respects Jericho, and he's going to give him his answer in person next week. So that should be something to look forward to for next week's show. See if Moxley takes up Jericho's offer. I think he will. And people are going to boo Moxley. And the Inner Circle is going to be like this big action. And eventually, you know what happens. So somebody joins the faction unwillingly. Moxley's going to join the faction. Going to have some fun for a couple weeks. And then right before the pay-per-view, Moxley's going to turn on Jericho. And then that leads into their AEW World Title match at AEW Revolution. Moxley's going to win the belt. About 6 to 8 months. Probably all the way up to All Out 3. Or All In 3, or whatever they're going to call it this year. And I think the next person that's going to get it is Kenny Omega. Do Kenny Moxley 2. I don't know if it's gonna be another hardcore death match. I highly doubt it, but you never know with these two guys. But I think by middle to near, I say near the end of the year, we're gonna see Moxley Omega 2 AEW World Title. Mark my words on that one. Don't believe me? I know it's early. It's January the 3rd, and we got a long way to go. Got Double or Nothing 2 coming up, probably. We got probably another Fighter Fest, another Fight for the Fallen, maybe. We got maybe All In 3 coming in August or early September. Then I don't know what's coming up after that. Maybe another Full Gear, and at the end of the year. But we shall see what happens as this year progresses with AEW and what they announce and who they get this year. I think AEW have a good year. Their second year, as a company. Really, I think it's the second and a half year because they started in early 2018 with all in. And then that progressed to Double or Nothing, which was basically their coming out party. And then they got the TV deal. They had Fighter Fest, Fight for the Fallen, and then All In, and then All Out last year. And then they got the TV deal. They had their first pay-per-view. Well, not really their first pay-per-view, but live pay-per-view, Full Gear. And they've been doing some pretty good stuff. They won most of the ratings war on Wednesday nights. Got a million views, over 1 million views the first episode, 1 million views after that, and then they've been they regressed a little bit. 600,000, 700,000, 800,000, and then this week they got almost 1 million views, which was awesome. I don't know how many they're gonna get next week. They might go down again, but with NXT being a new episode, but we shall see as we start the Wednesday Night War for 2020, and it's gonna be a good war, I think, this year. It's gonna we're gonna see NXT win one week, AEW win the next week. It's gonna probably go back and forth a couple weeks. Might be tied. We'll see what happens. So we get that. So we'll see what happens with Moxley and Jericho and the Inner Circle next week on the program. And like I said, I think Moxley will join Jericho. Excalibur in jail. Like, what is he thinking? And we'll see what happens with that. And like I said, Moxley's gonna join, and then eventually, by the time the pay-per-view comes, he's gonna turn on Jericho, and then fight him for the belt at Revolution, and probably win the belt, and then go on his merry run with the belt. And we'll see what happens with that, and we'll move on from there. All right, then we get to match number 4: Sammy Guevara taking on Old Man Dustin Rhodes. Match was okay. Jake Hager was at ringside to be the bodyguard of Sammy Guevara. Dustin comes out in his face paint to a nice ovation. So it starts out with Dustin sneaking in from behind, attacking Sammy Guevara from behind, looking for revenge. The whole thing with Dustin getting his arms slammed into the limo door, and messing up his forearm. So he was out for a couple weeks, and he comes back and gets revenge, gets his little revenge on the Inner Circle for a little bit with helping Cody out. We'll get that. So then he hits a clothesline and a slam. He dumps him to the floor. Goes out with an apron cannonball. Back in. Dustin heads up top, and then Jake Hager tries to distract him. And Sammy attacks, but Dustin hits a snap slam on the floor. Ow. Then back in, Dustin looks to attack Jake Hager, because what Hager did to Dustin, doing that whole thing with Sammy Guevara and Jericho and company. They messed up his forearm, like I said. Sammy attacks. Sammy takes the ref as Hager works over Dustin on the floor. Oh, that chicanery. And then Sammy goes Sammy goes to work him with some strikes, but Dustin sends him into the ring post, starts attacking his arm. Then he grabs a chair as we go to break, and, his referee had to stop him for that. Come back, Sammy has Dustin grounded with a cattle mutilation variation. Dustin escapes, fires back, gets a cradle, inside cradle for a near fall. Sammy cuts him off and gets the inside cradle of his own for a near fall. He hits up top, rolls through on the shooting star press, and Dustin hits the snap power slam for a near fall. Follows up with some strikes, and then a spine buster for a near fall. Sammy counters with an enziguri and then a running shooting star press for a near fall. Go to the apron, Dustin counters and hits a Canadian Destroyer on the apron. Ow! That had to hurt. They go back in. Dustin takes out Jake Hager, dumps Sammy onto him. They go back in. He looks for Shattered Dreams. Ref has to stop him. I don't know why. He basically doesn't hit the guy in the nuts. He hits the turnbuckle. I digress. The referee stops him, and this led to Jake Hager coming in with a low blow on the Dustin, which allows Sammy to inside cradle him for the tainted win. The match was okay. I gave it 2.5 out of 5 stars. And we got that, and Sammy gets a win on TV. Whoop-de-damn fucking do. Don't give a crap. And they're leading to Dustin and Jake Hager. Jake Hager's first official match in AEW this year. They're leading to that, and the whole Dustin trying to get revenge on his broken arm, like Jake Hager did to him in beginning of October or November. So we get that. And we're going to see what happens with Jake Hager and Dustin Rhodes as we move on from there. So we get that. Alright, then we get an interview with Private Party. And they interviewed in a bar. And then we see Hangman Adam Page come in. And he sits down with him, has a couple of drinks. And Private Party's kind of worried about him. And then Page is like, well, I'm going to whoop your ass. And then he leaves. So we got drunken Adam Page going crazy. I don't know what that was about, but okay. I gave that 2.25 out of 5 stars. And see what happens with that. And we move on. Alright, then we get MJF and Wardlow arriving to the arena. MJF kissed a random female fan. I don't know who that was. And then he starts talking trash to another fan that got a lot of press on Facebook and Twitter. He took the fan's hat and threw it all the way into the other side of the crowd. Because the guy was he's patting him, and then he slapped him on his chest, and Wardlow had to stop him from getting any further. Guess the fan had too many beers or something like that. So MJF cuts a promo, and he mocks the crowd for having their heads up their asses and being stupid. Then he runs down Cody, says Cody needs him in 2020. And then he lists his stipulations for their eventual match at AEW Revolution. He says Cody can't touch him until the match happens. And if he does, the match is null and void. And the only way that Cody gets the match is if he beats an opponent of his choosing, which is going to be Wardlow. So Cody has to beat Wardlow to get the match with MJF. And then MJF says that match will be in a steel cage, brother. I don't know why that's needed. Why would it be in a cage? Just make it a hardcore match. Or, make it a hardcore match. Don't make it a cage. Kind of gives MJF a little bit of momentum and advantage, because he can just come in and beat the crap out of Cody. But I still don't know why that match will be a cage match. I don't know when that match is even going to take place. Probably in a couple weeks, but we'll see. Then finally he says live on TNT. I don't know when this is going to be. Cody will get down on his knees and be whipped like a slave by MJF, not once, not twice, but 10 times. And as he rips the flesh off of Cody, Cody will always be reminded that MJF is better than him, and he knows it. So we get that. So there's the stipulations for their eventual match. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with Cody at this point. I think he beats Wardlow in the cage. It's bloodied up, busted and battered, busted open. It's busted wide open. Wardlow beats the crap out of him, but somehow, some way, Cody comes out of the cage and beats Wardlow to get the match with MJF. Then, over the next coming weeks, they have the lashing. And like JR will be like, "This is too much. Cody, you shouldn't have taken it. Think for your family, stuff like that." Maybe Randy comes out and says, "This is too much." Or Arn Anderson comes out and says, "This is too much," and then MJF tries to beat up Arn Anderson, piss off Cody even more. And then eventually the match happens at Revolution. I think MJF wins the match, personally, because I think Cody's gonna put MJF over and make him like a full-fledged heel. Just go berserk. But never know, maybe Cody wins the match, I don't know. But we'll see what happens over the next couple weeks as we get closer and closer to AEW Revolution, about a month away. So we'll see what happens next week on the program. And that's all I gotta say about that. And we will move on from there. Alright, after that, let me just check my time. Whoa. Finish this up. We get an interview with Jungle Boy commenting on his recent match with Jericho, going 10 minutes. Champ, and a little over 10 minutes with the champ. He says 2020 will be big for Jurassic Express, and they're looking for some wins. Then they got cut off as Adam Page comes out and joins commentary with a drink. I didn't get that, but okay. Drunken Adam Page comes out, starts speaking like a moron. I'm a big Adam Page mark, but it is what it is, and that's pretty much all I gotta say about that. And we move on. Alright, then we find out next week, like I said, there will be a Memphis Legends tribute. So I don't know if they're gonna mention Jerry Lawler or Jerry Jarrett, anybody from Memphis. We got that. We got Rio versus Chris Statlander. I don't know if that's gonna be a title match or maybe just a regular match. Let's see. We got Cody and Dustin, the Rhodes Brothers, taking on the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon Jr. and Rey Fenix. That should be an awesome match. We got Sammy Guevara and Christopher Daniels. It might be okay. I still think Sammy's going to win. And then we have Private Party versus Kenny Omega and Adam Page, which could be a pretty good match. I don't think that's going to end the show. I think the Rhodes Brothers and Lucha Brothers will end the show, but we'll see. And then we got Moxley, John Moxley, answering Chris Jericho, and we'll see if he joins the Inner Circle or not. And that's pretty much all I can say about that. So I give the Jungle Boy segment 2.25 out of 5 stars. So next week should be a jam-packed show, and we'll see what happens with that as we move on from there. Then we end the show with Rio. She's basically trying to talk about her title defense. It is a title defense against Chris Statlander. But then Britt Baker comes in and basically kind of turns heel a little bit, and she's the face of the division, and then she leaves. So we'll see what happens with that. If anything transpires with Britt Baker next week, maybe Britt Baker costs Rio the women's title, gives it to Chris Statlander, and then you start the Chris Statlander, Brandy Rhodes, Awesome Kong, Nightmare Collective angle, which will eventually be Statlander facing Brandy Rhodes, probably for the belt, and then Brandy gets the belt. She is the chief Brandy officer. Or they just give it to Awesome Kong. But, I don't know. I think Brandy's gonna somehow gain the women's title, and the Nightmare Collective are gonna hold it for a while. I don't know who might get it after that. Maybe Nyla Rose goes after it, or Britt Baker gets it, and then Nyla Rose gets it, and then eventually Rio might get it back for the second time. But no, we'll see what happens next week on the program with Chris Statlander and Rio. I think Chris Statlander will win the belt next week because I don't know how long you can you push Rio to fighting against the odds, getting her butt kicked most of the match, and then somehow she wins. I really don't know that. And that's pretty much all I gotta say about that. So next week should be a jam-packed show. Like I said, with Moxley addressing Jericho, see if he joins the Inner Circle. Chris Statlander versus Rio for the women's title. A Private Party against Kenny Omega and Adam Page. The Lucha Brothers versus the Rhodes Brothers. And Sammy Guevara and Christopher Daniels going at it, one-on-one. Maybe get something with a Dark Order next week. Maybe something with Dark Order and SCU maybe next week. We'll see. Probably, and maybe a little bit more with MJF and Cody comes out of that. We might see MJF involved in that tag team match. But we'll see what happens with that. So all in all, a very good episode of AEW Dynamite! It was a Dynamite show, to say the least. I gave it 7.5 out of 10 stars. Let me know what you guys thought of the show in a comment or a video reply down below. And if you have any wrestling questions or any general questions, music, movies, sports, anything you want, it's an open forum. You can ask your questions down below or hit me up via my Twitter page. Twitter link is down below in the comments section, in the the description of the video, along with my other channels which you can subscribe to right now. So send your questions, 4-question maximum, and hopefully we'll get to a Q&A this year. Not well, and that's all I gotta say about that. And that's it. That's pretty much it. So send your questions down below in this video or any one of my future videos. Or hit me up via Twitter, message, and we'll get to a Q&A sooner or later. And that's all I gotta say about that. So once again, 7.5 out of 10 stars for AEW. It was a great show. We'll see what happens this coming Wednesday night from Mississippi. And we'll see what happens with NXT this coming week with their new show, their first official show of the 2020 year. And should be good. Rating should be pretty close. We'll see. But that's all I got to say about that. So thank you all for watching. I got TGC 159 coming up in just a little bit. I'm going to talk about Wrestle Kingdom Night 1 and 2. Give you my predictions. Because coming up in pretty soon. A few hours. So we got that. So I'm going to give you my predictions. To give you my review of Night 1 and Night 2 on Monday. Because I want to get everything, both nights in my review. Hopefully, I don't know if I'm going to do a live show or I'm going to try to condense it a little bit. So I got 11 matches tonight, 9 next night for Night 2, with the whole double champion main event. It's both belts, both the IWGP World title and the Intercontinental title. See who comes out of that between Okada, Ibushi, Naito, and Jay White. See who comes out of that. We got Tanahashi, Jericho. See if Tanahashi gets an AEW title shot or not. There's some rumblings that AEW and New Japan might be forming a union. That's great. Hopefully that comes to pass. And see what happens. At Wrestle Kingdom 14, it's going to be a good show. I think it's going to be pay-per-view, the start pay-per-view cycle. I don't think it's going to be pay-per-view of the year. We got a long way to go. But I think it'll start off with a bang. And we're going to have a double champion. And we'll see who it is. And then that's pretty much all I got to say about that. So thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of SmackDown tonight. I'll do my SmackDown review Sunday on my Killer Demons channel. Talk about that and some other stuff. And then we got Wrestle Kingdom review coming on Monday channel. And that's pretty much it. And then get you slated for Monday Night Raw, first edition of Monday Night Raw for 2020, on the heels of the debacle of that wedding. So we'll see what happens with that. And some other good stuff coming your way over the next couple days and all that good stuff. So thank you for watching. I'm Peter Gilmore signing off. TGC 159 coming up in a little bit. But for now, I'm Peter Gilmore once again signing out. Peace, bitches. See you next time.